All right. Hi, everybody. Thank y'all for joining me. Okay. I'm sorry I'm a little bit late. I'm 1 minute late, but thank y'all for joining me. And we are back live with our update and for Easy Lease. Okay. As you know, Easy Lease is going to be the first peer-to-peer ride or commercial vehicle sharing platform for commercial trucks. Okay. We're going to be the first. Okay. Uber, Lyft, and Turo has paved the way for someone to, launch something like this when it comes to commercial trucks. And since no one else has done it, I took an interest in it about 2 years ago, and I decided to launch it. Currently, we are seeking, $200,000 for 40% ownership of the company. We have two investors right now who each came in at the lowest level at $6,250. So they each own 1.25% of the company right now. And once we raise the other $187,500, the SEC says that we can then go ahead and file our articles of incorporation, and we will go ahead and create 500 million shares, and we will issue 300 million of those shares to the owners of the company. So those people who have 1.25% of the company, they will get 3,750,000 shares, and they own 1.25% of the company. So then they collect, their dividend split from the revenue that we generate throughout the course of running Easy Lease. Now, tonight, what we're doing is I'm going to be showing you all how truckers deciding to use Easy Lease, which is a ride sharing platform. Okay, we're not a trucking company. They're not going to run underneath our authority. These are truckers who have their own authority. They got to have their own authority. They got to get insurance, and they got to get their permits. So they got to have their own authority. They got to have their insurance. They got to have a valid CDL, and of course they got to get their permits. What Easy Lease is doing is giving truckers the control and the independence to make money. Because I'm gonna tell y'all right now, someone brought up in some comments says that, well, the market right now is the average, owner operator or lease operator, barely makes $4,500 gross, and their concern was that because Easy Lease, the average truck rental through Easy Lease is going to be around $2,400 per week. But see, here's the thing: there's a reason why the majority of truckers out there who are running lease owner operators or the owner operators running underneath someone else's authority. There's a reason why they're only grossing $4,500 on average. Okay. And then after the lease payments, they're taking about $1,200, $1,100, some even less than that sometimes. But here's the reason why they're not making money. Here's the reason why they're not making more than that. Owner operators who have their own authority, who are not running under anybody else's authority, they're running under their own authority, and they have the freedom to find and run their own freight. I guarantee they're making more than $4,500. The average owner operator who has their own authority and able to grab the loads that they want to grab and go when and where they want to go when they want to go, they're making on average about $7,500 to $9,500 gross before they pay their fuel, before they pay anything. And therein lies the problem. That is the problem with the majority of owner operators. Because I'm going to be honest with you, only about 25% of owner operators are actually running under their own authority with their own trucks without being attached to some type of lease program, without being attached to some other company that has authority that's running them, where they have to run what they tell them to run. The reason why the other 75% of owner operators out there, they're under some type of authority of another company. They're running under another company. They're running under some type of lease program where they have to split their money 80-20, 70-30, 85, 15, or whatever the case may be. And and they don't have the freedom to run the loads that they want to run. They got to run the loads that that company tells them to run. That's why they're not making money. They're not making money because the freight out there is not paying enough. They're not making money because they can't run the loads. They can't pick their own loads. They can't. Then they don't have the independence to go out there and find their own freight and run their own freight. And see, and this is the biggest thing that Easy Lease will do. Easy Lease is going to allow anybody who has the authority, who has a valid CDL, has the insurance, and get their own permits and plates, they'll be able to get in one of these trucks and be able to find their own loads and keep 100% of their load fees of the line haul. They have the freedom to actually go out and grab good paying freight. It's not the fact that there's no good paying freight, because there's tons of good paying freight out there. But if you're under the authority of another company, you don't have the freedom to self-dispatch. And then the ones that tells you that you can self-dispatch, it's got to be approved by them. So you have no real control. That's why they're not making money. Now, I'm gonna start sharing my screen, okay, and show you what I'm talking about when it comes to running under an Easy Lease program. All right, this is Easy Lease at myeasylease.com. Excuse me. The first peer-to-peer commercial vehicle sharing marketplace, featuring 100% of the line haul to lease operators. Okay, Easy Lease has, there's no holdback, there's no split, there's none of those hidden fees. There's not even a cents, 10 cents, or 30 cents per mile for overage mileage. Okay, that's ridiculous. If you was to go out and buy your own truck and you got your own authority and you're running under your own authority, you're finding your own loads, are you being penalized for driving over a certain number of miles? No. So people, you got to understand, when you're running under these traditional lease programs and under these other programs, everything is stacked, pretty much stacked, against you, and it's stacked in favor of the company whose authority you're running under. That's the real reason why these carriers, why 75% of the people out there who are classified as owner-operators, they're not really true owner-operators, but they're classified as owner-operators. That's why 75% of them are not making more than $4,500, $5,000 gross before anything comes out of their settlement. Because if you got a settlement check, that means you're not running underneath your own authority. If you're getting a settlement check, that means someone else is controlling what you go and grab, what kind of money you make, how you go, when you go, where you go. Okay, that's what it means to have a settlement check. If you got a settlement check, if you're getting a settlement check, that means you're not in control of your own money. You're not in control of your own truck. You're not in control of what loads you grab, where you go, how you go, and when you go. Okay, you're just not. Well, with Easy Lease, you will be in complete control. You decide what loads you want to grab. And even if you use our dispatch service, we only charging 10%, so you're still getting 90% of your line haul. That's still 90% of your line haul. And another thing is, when you get paid, you're not being paid by Easy Lease. We don't touch any of the transactional money for picking up loads or delivering loads and getting paid for loads. When you run a load, that load provider, whether it's a broker, a shipper, okay, they're paying that money directly to you or to your factory, or you're getting paid by the factory company. You're not getting paid by Easy Lease, because Easy Lease is not a trucking company. You're not getting paid by us. You're getting paid by whoever that load provider is, that freight provider is. And all you're paying to Easy Lease is your weekly rental. That's it for the truck, for your weekly uses of the truck, your lease payment, or your long-term rental payment each week. That's all you're paying to us, because all we are is just a management firm, just like Uber, just like Lyft, just like Turo. All right, let's go to the load board here. We're on a load board. We're on direct freight. Not a very expensive load board, not one of those load boards that cost $100, per month or anything like that. This is just a regular old, direct freight, a little $39.99, a month load board. Okay. And right now we're looking at loads in Florida. Now remember, this is on a Saturday night at 8:26 p.m. And this is for those people that say that there is no good paying freight out. We're on the load board on a Saturday night, and not even a DAT load board or trucker's path or anything like that. We're on just a regular run-of-the-mill direct freight load board, okay, on a Saturday night at 8:27 p.m. Okay, and we're looking in Florida where everybody say you can't make money. Okay, I purposely chose this criteria because I wanted to show you there's still good paying freight out there, and it's just about everywhere. There's enough of it for you to run, for you to make, $7, $8, $9, $10, $12,000 gross before any other fees or anything comes out. So remember, under the Easy Lease program, you have the freedom to self-dispatch. So you have the freedom of a true owner-operator. You have the freedom to go out and find your own freight, pick your own freight, and run your own freight. The biggest problem why owner-operators can't make money because they're not allowed to find the loads that pay the money. You're not allowed free choice to go and find those loads or grab those loads. You got to run the loads that the company you're running under tells you to grab. You got to take the load of the authority holder you're running under. You got to take the load that the company you're leasing to buy your truck from tells you to run. That's why you're not making money. Okay, because you don't have the freedom. And on top of that, you got to split that load with them. 80-20, 75-25, 70-30, 85-15, or, whatever the case may be. You got to split that with them. So they're taking that. Plus, if they gave you some ridiculously low lease fee, $5.99 a week, $8.99 a week, they got a holdback anywhere from 12 to 15% for 10 to 15 weeks. So that's an extra 15% that they're holding back. So you're really not splitting it. I'm 80-20. You're giving up 35%. Okay, so let's be real about that. And then on top of that, you got all your other fees, those hidden fees that comes out, for your LEDs, for your maintenance plan, for your warranty plan, for all this stuff. I mean, they're taking out all this stuff from you, and you're not able to actually pick the loads that's paying money. When a true owner operator, they're actually able to go out and find loads and pick the loads that's paying good money. Because if you had that ability, would you pick a load that's paying $1.75, $1.15, $1.50, or $2, or would you pick one of these hundreds of loads on here that is well above $3 per mile? And remember, this is on a Saturday night, 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and we're looking in Florida, and we're looking at loads that are $25 a mile, $16 a mile, $9 a mile, going on down to $6, $7, $5, $4, $5, and so on and so on. All these loads right here are over $3 per mile. We're pulling up some more. All these loads are greater than $3 per mile. Now, if you had the freedom to go and pick your own loads, when you pick one of these loads versus running a load that the dispatcher or the lease company or the authority holder company, the trucking company you're running under is sending you on, of course you would. And Easy Lease would give you that independence and the freedom to do just that. All these loads are greater than $3 per mile. And and we're still going down. Now we're getting into the 298s and 299s and but all great, still great loads. Hundreds of loads. Now, any owner operator who knows anything about running freight, okay, who's been doing this, for more than a week, knows that short run loads is where you're going to make your money. The short mileage loads are the loads you're going to make your money at. Now, you can run long mileage load, but then you got almost 3 times the fuel you're burning. Okay. It takes longer to run those loads because you can only, you still gotta abide by the hours of service. So if you're running loads that's 1,200, 1,500, 2,000 miles, if you're running a load that's 2,500 miles, 3,000 miles, and it's paying $11,000, that's really not a good load, because it's going to take you all week to run that load. All week. And how much money you spend in fuel? You see what I'm saying? So it is much better to run short run loads. But you don't have the freedom to do that if you can't self-dispatch yourself. And 90% of the time, if the company is allowing you to self-dispatch, you still got to split that money with them. You still have to give them 20%. With Easy Lease, you can self-dispatch and you don't have to split not one dime with us, because you're running underneath your own authority. All you're doing is we're supplying you with the truck. That's it. We're supplying you with the truck for you to take the freedom to go out there and make money. Okay? That's Easy Lease. All right? So let's look at some freight. Let's look at some of this freight. All right? We're going to go down here and when you see all of these loads where you got the repeats like Lake City to Gainesville, 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 Lake City to Gainesville. Those are dedicated runs on the load board. Okay, they're short trip loads, which means you can run if you run these short round loads, you can run a minimum of 3 of these loads per day and still be well under your hours of service. And because these are repeated loads, you run this load out, little short run load, you're running out 45 miles on this Lake City onto Gainesville. 45 miles is what you're running. And this is a flatbed right here. And you're making $300. So you're making about $6.67 per mile. But let's go look at some dry vans. Okay. Here's a set of loads from Gibson to Orlando. It's a 92-mile run. 92-mile run from Gibson to Orlando. It's either a reefer or a dry van. It's paying $4.89 a mile. $450. You got time to run that load, and you can run 2 more loads, run another load out, and then run the final load back to Gibson. Okay? Let me show you what I mean. Gibson to Orlando, you run that's $450, right? It's only 92 miles. Then when you look at that load, let's look at it, and it runs every day. It's going to run on the 23rd. Which is, that's coming up. So then this is one of those loads that, that runs, every day. So you got time to go out, run 2 loads, run that one and 2 other loads, and get back and run them again. So let's look at it. You got Gibson to Orlando. Let's click on it. It is a reefer or a dry van. Okay, reefer or a dry van. And then you can do what's called the reverse search. Okay. So when you do your reverse search, you're going to try to find something that's close to Orlando or that's leaving from Orlando. All right. Here's one that's picking up right there in Orlando. Okay. So you're doing your reverse search, right? Here's a load that's picking up in Orlando that's going to Ocala. Okay. Picking up in Orlando, going to Ocala. Or, and that's no deadhead miles. That's zero miles on the deadhead. It's an 81-mile trip. It's headed back towards Gibson. Okay? Pick up on Orlando. Ocala is headed back towards Gibson. Right? It's going to put you within about 10 miles of Gibson if you want to run that load. But you really want to run a load that's going further out, that's not going all the way back to Gibson, that gives you another load that you can run back to Gibson. So you want to pick up 3 loads that day because you want to maximize your earnings. Okay. So if you go, let's do deadhead miles. Let's find the loads that are closest when it comes to deadhead, and let's see what we get. All right, of course, that Orlando one, because that's right there. Now you can go 18 miles. You can go just 18 miles and pick up this one in Longwood, but then you got to go out 116 miles to Clearwater. Okay, and that's the only one of those right there. You really don't want to run that one. What I would do, or most owner operators do, they will take this 59-mile deadhead to Lakeland to pick up a mile that's only going 24 miles to Haines City. Okay, now we don't know what that's paying, but because it's a short mile run, you can negotiate that. Or if you want to come down and see one that is showing on what it's paying, you can pick up one of these Windward to Clearmont or Windward to Ocala. That's a good one because that's going to put you back in striking distance of Gibson. So 55 miles, you're going to take that one that's going 28 miles. You go 50 miles, 5 miles deadhead, 28 miles trip miles from Winford to Ocala, Florida. That's a dry van. It's paying $9.83 per mile, $2.75, and that's putting you back in striking distance of what? Gibson. So you take that, and then you can just do your reverse search on this one, and you can go and do your reverse search. And then what you can do is, if you want to put in Gibson, you can, to see if it's, because remember, that puts you right back in striking distance of Gibson. You know what I'm saying? So you can put, what it's going to take you to get back to Gibson. You don't want to do 105 miles deadhead, okay, to get back to Gibson. So you do your deadhead miles. You find the lowest deadhead miles. All right. And then you're going to put destination Gibson. Do it right there. And you click search and see what puts you back into striking distance of Gibson. All right. And here we go. All right. So now you can pick one of these short deadhead miles that's going to put you back in striking distance of Gibson, put you close to Gibson. You can take this one that's a 29-mile deadhead, or you can pick up in, 0 miles Ocala and head 90 miles back to Haines City, which puts you about 10 to 15 miles outside of Gibson, Gibsonia. And then you're able to go and pick that load up from Gibsonia and start all over again. Because 90 miles to Ocala is 105 miles to Gibson. You can see right here, 105 miles to Gibson. But what you can do is you can grab this load right here that's picking up 0 miles in Ocala, because that's where you're at right now. And you can go 90 miles to Haines City, which puts you right back within 10 to 15 miles of Gibson. Now, let's look at the money you've made with those 3 loads. You ran 3 loads. Your first load, you was making $450. And you got plenty of time to run these loads. You made $450. And this is before you even negotiate. Because naturally, when you call up these brokers, you want to negotiate with them. I'm going to try to get an extra $200 on that load, 150 or 200, try to make it over 500, try to make it 550 or something like that. But let's just go with what they got posted. Okay? So that's $450. And then on your next run, we're going to run your little short deadhead and then pick up a load. It's showing $275, but you're only going 28 miles. Okay? Now remember, this is before you negotiate a higher rate. And then your last load, which is taking you back towards Gibsonia, so you can pick up, that load that's going to make you some money. Where is it at here? We were looking at the Ocala, 90 miles. That says 200. You can run that one, or you can run find a real good one. You don't want to. Well, you can do this one. You can go 51 miles and then run 128 miles to Orlando, and that will put you within striking distance of distance, and that's going to pay you $500, which is $3.91 per mile. Me personally, I wouldn't run that one. I would probably take one of these that's 300, 275, 400, somewhere around there, because you don't want to go too much deadhead, and you still want to keep that deadhead down. So if you ran 29 miles, then you're gonna run 69 miles from Wynwood back to Fern Park. That's gonna put you within 25 to 30 miles of Gibson, and that's another $300. So you take that plus 300. And remember, this is before any negotiation. So you're really running about $1,025 per day is what you're making. And that's before you negotiate in the deadhead. Before you negotiate any more from the brokers, because all these loads are from brokers. Okay? So you're doing about $1,025 per day, and you can run these loads 5 days a week. And this is on a Saturday. Looking at loads that are on here on a Saturday night in Florida. So you're at $5,125. And that's on a Saturday night in Florida. Now, if I took the time to go through this, I could probably find loads that's going to pay me somewhere between $7,000 and $9,000, because I have the freedom to grab my own freight. I have the freedom to grab the freight that I want to grab. And this is in Florida. Imagine if I was in Georgia, Texas, Alabama, Louisiana, Pennsylvania, Illinois, Indiana, up in those areas. Oh, my God. This is on a Saturday night in Florida. I purposely chose Florida because everybody said you can't make money in Florida. And I'm choosing dry-van loads. That's $5,125. And you're running short run loads, which means you ain't spending that much in fuel. You're not spending $1,800 in fuel like you are running all week trying to run those long runs. At most, you probably spent $700, maybe $800 in fuel. I don't think you spend $700 in fuel running these short run loads. So you're going to take that minus the $700 you spend in fuel. Okay. And then if you run it through Easy Lease, all you're paying us is a lease payment. 24-hour roadside assistance, that's included in your lease payment. Maintenance plan, included in the lease payment. Easy Lease warranty, included in your lease payment. So even if you've got one of our more expensive weekly ones, minus $2,400, you're still over $2,000 per week take home for a drive-in. Now I can go through here, use this same, what we just did in just about anywhere, and come up with, the final figures, $3,000, $4,000, $5,000, $6,000. Why? Because you have the ability to choose where you want to run. You have the ability to choose where you want to run, have the ability to choose the freight you want to run that's paying the kind of money you want to get paid. Now, if I go through here and I pull up, let's say, PA, Pennsylvania. Let's pull up Pennsylvania. See what kind of loads they got on the load board tonight. All right, we're going to go over and we're going to click the estimated rate per mile because we want to see the highest paying loads first. Any knowledgeable owner operator that's what you're going to do. You're going to pull up the highest paying loads first. Okay. And usually those loads that are paying good rates per mile or shorter run loads. Okay. Now here's one that's going 114 miles. Is paying $2,000. You know, that's pretty decent. 114 miles, $2,000. That's $17. No, I take that back. Yeah, and it's not even that much weight. It's 21,500 pounds. Pay rate $2,000 for 114 miles. It says here 17.54 rate per mile. Somehow that doesn't. I don't know. That doesn't seem right. I think that's a mistake. Hold up here. It's going paying $2,000. It's going how many miles? 114 miles. 2,000 divided by 114. Yeah, that's right. $17.54 a mile. So yeah, that's a decent paying load at $17.54 a mile, 2,000 miles. That is a good paying load, but that's not one of those repeatable loads. What I like to look for now, and don't get me wrong, you can grab that, make that $2,000 a day, and then make that $2,000, but you got to go. It's only 114 miles, so yeah, you can run that load and then run another load after that. So if you grab that load, and then you can run another load after that. If you do a bike haul, look for a bike haul. And you can do this in the same day because it's only 114 miles. Not like you're going 300-400 miles. You're going 114 miles. You got time enough to grab a load, grab you another load. Look for the you can make either this one work, 25-mile deadhead, 143 miles, $2.80 per mile, paying $1,000. So you can grab that one that's going back, that puts you back in striking distance of where you came from. So you're looking at $400. No, I'm looking at the wrong load. My bad. I clicked on the wrong load. Looking for my deadhead. Hold on here. 25 miles, 143 mile trip miles. Yeah, there we go. $2.80 a mile, which is $400. Not $1,000. It's $1,000. It's 10,000 weight. It's only $400. You don't want to deadhead 114 miles to grab a load. Yeah, that one's good. This one for $3. This one for, you can make this one. Well, now I wouldn't try to make that one work. You did 114 miles. If you do a 94-mile deadhead, you got 258 miles. That's gonna be cutting it close. I would do this 34-mile one at $325, or I do this one at $400 because you've already made $2,000 for that day. And this is one you can actually run and complete in that day. So you can do this one on a 25-mile deadhead, $400, 200, $400, $2.80 per mile. So you made a $2,000 plus $400, and this is before negotiation. So for the day, you made $2,400. Okay. The next day, you can look for loads that's similar, or loads if you're doing that on the first day, and you can run both those loads in one day. That's $2,400 in that one day. That is so doable. That is so doable. But because you have the freedom to grab the loads you want, you have the freedom to grab the loads that's paying, and you're not forced to grab what they send to you. This is why owner-operators really who are running under someone else's authority cannot make the kind of money that they want to make. Okay? If you find 3 loads like that a week, just 3 loads like that a week, that's $7,200. And if you're running them when you can run them all, you still got 2 more days of loads that you can find and run. You still got 2 more days of loads that you can find and run. And you can find it. You can find, even if you found the other 2 loads, the other 2 days, if you didn't average 2,400, let's say you only average $1,000 on the other 2 days. That's another $2,000. That's $9,200 that week. And I'm grabbing these loads off the load board on a Saturday night. On a Saturday night. And see, Easy Lease would give drivers the ability and the freedom and the independence to find their own freight, give them the independence and the freedom to find good paying loads. The reason why the average owner-operator, quote owner-operator, they're not really owner-operator, they're running on somebody else's authority, they're some type of lease program or whatever the case would be, they're splitting their money 80-20, and plus they got almost a 15% holdback for 10 to 15 weeks. So yeah, you're giving up 35% of your money. And you're not able to run the loads that you want to run. You got to run the loads that they tell you to run. You got to run them $1.75 loads. You got to run them $1.50 loads. You got to run them $1.93 loads. You got to run them loads that's going, 2,100 miles or 3,000 miles, and you're only being paid $1.17 a mile. You got to run those loads. You don't have a choice because you don't have the freedom to self-dispatch. See, it's not just one thing with Easy Lease. It's the whole concept of Easy Lease, which makes it better for drivers and will enable drivers to make the kind of money that they want to make. Why would you want to lease to own when you can lease to make money? That's what Easy Lease will allow you to do. Okay? If you can do that on a regular basis, 9,200, which finding your own freight, okay? You take out, remember, you're running kind of short run loads. This is going to be a little bit more expensive. So you probably spend about, $1,200 on fuel that week. $8,000 minus your Easy Lease, $2,400. That's what you're paying to Easy Lease on the average, weekly rental for the truck. It leaves you $5,600. You're going to spend about $100, $120, $100 a week on your insurance. Okay, say minus, let's say $120. Maintenance plan is already included. Warranty is already included. 24-hour roadside assistance is already included. If you got your other little fees, your whatever your well, you don't need a Qualcomm, but if you got other fees of, let's say, I don't know, $150 per week. Because remember, you don't have those hidden fees on with these. All you pay us $2,400. Still $53.30. If you can average that by finding your own freight, that times 52 weeks in a year, $277,000 a year. Come on. You could probably live on $75,000. You could probably live on the $77,000, but you got taxes that's got to come out of that. So, but let's say, shoot. But if you know how to do your taxes right, you ain't gonna have much that's coming out because you got all these, deductions to get to take because you're a truck driver. Right? So let's say $250,000. Let's say $250,000 after your taxes. And if you want to live on, let's say $77,000 that year, You got $173,000 left over to go out and buy you 2 or 3 trucks. Or you can buy you one brand new truck instead of being on somebody's lease program where you're barely getting by, taking home $1,100 a doggone week to pay for a truck that you're going to own in what, 2, 3, sometimes 4 years? So you're scraping by for those 2, 3, 4 years just to own a truck when you can run on a company like Easy Lease, a rideshare company, where you take 100% of your money, you keep 100% of your line haul. You get to run the freight you want to run, go out and actually pick out the good paying loads and run them when you want to run them and make your money. Then at the end of the year, you live on $77,000 to pay your bills and live how you want to live. That's pretty good. Live on that. And then you got $173,000 left over after paying taxes to go out and buy you. If you buy, I mean, how many $50,000 trucks or $60,000 trucks can you buy with that? And $50,000, $60,000 get you a pretty decent truck. Or you can just get you a brand new truck. You can pretty much, after 1-2 years running under the Easy Lease program, you got enough money to buy yourself 3, 4, 5 trucks and start your own trucking company. That's the power of Easy Lease. That's the power of being able to grab your own freight. That's the power of being able to keep 100% of your line haul. See, these drivers are not, it's not because the freight is not out there that's paying good. A lot of people say, well, there's no good paying freight. That's why we can't make no money. No, you can't make no money because you running underneath somebody else's authority. You can't make no money because you're on a lease program. They done sold you a bunch of goods that, they doing you a whole big favor, but no, they're not doing you a favor. They're not. You're doing them a favor. That's why you only can make $4,500 gross. Then after they take out all their payments and everything, you only walking away with $1,100 a week or less. Because you don't control your own money. You don't control how you run. You don't control what loads you grab. And then when you do grab loads that you have no control over what they send to you, you got to split that with them. You got to give them 20 to 35%. Come on. It ain't hard to figure out. I figured this out when I was running. When I left Covenant, came home, bought my own truck, ran underneath my own authority. My first year, I grossed $541,000. I thought I grossed more than that, but after paying taxes and fuel and all that other stuff, because I had the ability to grab my own freight, and I ran strictly in Florida. I made that in Florida in a dry van. Look, people, Easy Lease is about giving you back the freedom to run how you want to run, giving you back the freedom to grab good paying freight, giving you back the freedom and the independence to keep 100% of your line haul. And Easy Lease is not a trucking company. We're a peer-to-peer rideshare management company, just like Uber, just like Lyft, and almost identical to Turo, except Turo is for individuals and their personal luxury cars. I told y'all before, I had 3 cars listed with Turo. This is where I got the idea from. I had 3 cars with Turo: my Jaguar, my Cadillac SUV, and my BMW convertible. Had them on Turo, averaging between $70 a day and $140 a day in rental with those 3 cars. So this is where I got the idea from. Because those companies have already paved the way for someone to come in and create that same business model, but do it in the commercial truck industry. We don't need to have any type of authority because you're not running under our authority, you're running into your own authority. We don't have to have all the credentials and stuff that trucking companies have because we're not a trucking company. We're a rideshare app. That's basically what we are. We're a rideshare app. Just like Uber does not have to have all the credentials and the expenses of a taxi cab company. Lyft, same thing. And just like Turo does not have all the expenses and have all the credentials and licenses of a rental car company. Same thing. We are not a trucking company. We are a rideshare management firm that manages the collection of the rental payments on behalf of the asset owners, the people who own the trucks. So, look, so there you got it. You can make money running, you can make the kind of money you want to make in trucking. Trucking is still a good industry if you have the control, if you have the ability to grab your own freight, if you have the ability to find your own good paying loads. There's plenty of good paying loads out there to find. Plenty of good paying loads out there to find. Now, imagine if I was on a DAT load board or a trucker's path or one of those other load boards. I'm on a direct freight, little run-of-the-mill load board on a Saturday night, finding great paying freight. I mean, seriously. Where's my thing here? Stop share there. All right, look. That's pretty much my presentation for tonight. I just wanted to show you all that getting a truck through Easy Lease, you can make money because you have the freedom to make money. You have the independence to make money. That's the real key to making money in the trucking industry. Because you got, all these lease-to-own companies, all these companies that you're running under somebody else's authority. You can't make money because they tell you where to go, what to grab, when to go, how to go, when you can go home, all that type of stuff. That's not the case with Easy Lease. With Easy Lease, you get 100% independence. Keep 100% of your line haul. 100% freedom to self-dispatch. We don't have all those crazy fees. You just pay just your lease payment. That's it. You bring your own insurance, bring your own authority, your valid CDL, and your permits. Like any other owner-operator. But you don't have to own a truck. You don't have to put out that expense of going out there and actually buying a truck. All we're doing is just paying that weekly rental fee. And you got the freedom to operate like a true owner-operator. Because true owner-operators are making money. It's all you guys out there who are doing these lease programs, you got that 80-20 split, and you got all them hidden fees, and they're telling you where to go, how to go, what to go grab, and all that stuff. You ain't making no money, but true owner-operators making money. Okay? I mean, look, my dispatch firm dispatch for true owner-operators all the time, and they making money. They're making money because they are true owner operators. They have the freedom. They're not running on anybody's store. They're not under some type of lease purchase program where they're suffering and starving just to run to buy a truck in 3 to 4 years. To own a truck in 3 to 4 years. Come on, run on a rideshare program like what we're gonna be the first. We're gonna be the first peer-to-peer commercial truck sharing platform marketplace. Run on a rideshare program where you're getting 100% of your money. That's huge. You're taking 100% of the line haul. You have the freedom to self-dispatch without even asking us anything. Why? Because the money don't come through us. You don't run a load, we get paid, and then we pay you. No, you run a load, they pay you, and then you pay us the weekly rental fee. You're in control. That money is going straight from the load provider to you. It's not coming through Easy Lease. Load provider to your pocket. Okay? So you have this freedom, you have the independence, you have everything you need to go out there and actually be able to grab good paying freight, because there's plenty of good paying freight out there. And we haven't even got into like getting access to our trucking planning account where you can get, medical freight, dedicated runs, and all this other stuff. We're not even talking about Amazon freight. We're not even talking about Uber freight, all these other great, loads you can sign up, to run yourself, FEMA freight. Come on. I mean, seriously, we were just looking at the load board. A little run-of-the-mill, fly-by-night load board direct freight on a Saturday night. I'll show you how dry van can take, come on, seriously. That's Easy Lease, though. That's what we're bringing to the table. That's the type of company Easy Lease is going to be. We're going to be the first peer-to-peer commercial vehicle sharing platform, just like, Turo. We're not a trucking company, so we don't have all the expenses that a trucking company have. We don't have to take a split. We don't have to do all this stuff because all we're doing is we're making our money just on the rental payment. Now, are we going to make money on dispatches when they decide that, invariably, a lot of you who come on with these leases, you're going to say, well, Calvin, can we use your dispatching services? Yes, we can dispatch for you. We're only charging 10%, so you're still taking 90% because you're not doing dispatching and taking 20%. A lot of you guys out there say, well, I don't want to do no dispatching. Well, what's the lease company doing? Independent dispatch charges about 10%, but you're with a lease company that's taking 20%. In some cases, 35%, with the holdback. I don't get that. I'd rather be a true owner operator, pay an independent dispatcher, and only pay 10% for them finding me great paying loads than to go with a lease company, a lease to purchase company, where that dispatcher is telling you what you gotta run. You can't. You can't self-dispatch. You got to run what they tell you to run. That cheap freight that they tell you to run, and then they're gonna take 25. They're gonna take 20 to 35% of that. That don't make no sense. But they sold you all on these bill of goods that leasing to purchase is the thing to do. Well, I say lease to make money. Don't lease to buy. Lease to make money. Because if you lease to make money, you ain't got enough money in the year to buy yourself 2 or 3 trucks. Versus starving for 2-3 years just to get that one truck. I didn't go from homeless to where I am now without knowing a little something about the trucking industry. Look, I understand this industry. I understand how to make money in this industry. I understand leasing. I understand the programs. Trust me, I understand that. Trust me, I understand that. I've made good money in this industry. Both as a, team driver with Covenant Transport, bought my own truck, ran my own truck, $541,000 my first year renting my own truck, renting in Florida only. After that, started my own logistics vocational school, the RBBS Logistics Learning Center, training freight brokers and dispatchers. And 2 years ago, I put together this Easy Lease startup program and put a lot of my own money into it, but I need, $200,000 to make this thing work on top of the money that I have put into it. I need the $200,000, so I'm willing to give up 40% ownership for the $200,000 in pre-seed funding that the SEC says that we can go and do the pre-seed funding, and then after we do that, then we can set up the articles of corporation and issue the shares to individuals who have helped us to raise those funds. All right, we already have 2 investors at the lowest level, $6,250. We have 2 investors that came in at that level. They each have 1.25% of the company right now. So we need another $187,500. If one person comes up with that $187,500, they will own 37.5% of the company. Yeah, they'll own 37.5. Yeah, 37 or 38.5. 2.5% is owned by those 2 people. So yeah, 38. Yeah, it'd be 37.5%. They will own 37.5% of the company. Or you can come up with $100,000, you own 20% of the company. Or you come up with $50,000, you own 10% of the company. $25,000, you own 5% of the company. And of course, if you come up with $6,250, you own 1.25% of the company. Okay. And, that's going to get you quite a bit of shares when we create our shares. All right. Look, I want to thank you all for joining me for this episode of Easy Lease Update. To probably Sunday night or Monday night, we're going to have another broadcast. And that is going to be on showing you how the asset owners make money with Easy Lease. How you as an asset owner can list your truck with Easy Lease and make on average $1,450 a week, $75,000 or more per year, just by listing your truck with your parked trucks you're not using, trucks you're not running, trucks you're not using yourself. How drivers can come off the road and list their trucks with Easy Lease, and we'll manage them. We'll collect the payments, all that type of stuff. We'll manage the whole thing. Okay, we're gonna go over that probably tomorrow evening at 8:15 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Look, everybody, I thank you all. I appreciate y'all for joining me for this broadcast of Easy Lease Live Update. If you want to get in touch with me, you can call me at 866-973-6445, or you can email me at calvinbutler@myeasylease.com. I'm finna go ahead and put this in the chats here so you all will have it. Give me a second. Let me find my thing. I just had it up here. I gotta find it. I just had it up here. Let me put it in the chat for you all so you all will have it. Okay. Give me a second. Finding my contact information so I can paste that in there for everybody. It's here somewhere. All right, there it is right there. All right. All right, interested parties can contact me. Here's my information. My phone numbers, my Skype, my email address, and all that good stuff. Put it in the chat for you. And there it is. All right. You can contact me at 850-933-4632. That's my personal cell phone number. Or you can call me at 866-973-6445, extension 1. And international Skype calls. You can, if you're from out of the country, you can Skype me. I have my link there for you to join me on Skype. You can reach me on Skype. And I have my email address, calvinbutler@myeasylease.com. And of course, let me split this up. My website is myeasylease.com. Let me get this so it's not all jumbled up together. There we go. I apologize for having all that jumbled up together like that. All right. There we go. I just sent it back out. It's not all jumbled up, so you all can kind of click on it and do what you need to do. Look, I thank you all. I appreciate y'all for joining me. I'll see you all next time on Easy Lease Live. This has been Calvin. Y'all have a great night. Bye, everybody.